Welcome to P226 Nuts review of the DPMS AR15. They call it the Model A15. Go figure. This one has a upper built by them with a 12-inch barrel and, or maybe it's 11.5. It's a little hard to tell, but 11.5 or 12-inch barrel and an extended flash hider. So the barrel is 16 inches and it's technically not a short barrel rifle, but it gives you all the feel of that without having the legal hassles. Let me give you a flyby here. See everything up close and in detail. This does have a lot of accessories on it. Oops, sorry, including an EOTech, a lot of mag pull, sorry again, furniture, and in general is pretty much customized. Now I'm going to try to talk about just the base gun itself, and I'm going to tell you why I really don't like this gun compared to other AR-15s. Compared to other guns at its price point though, I think it's very attractive. Okay, let's start with philosophy. This is a tactical carbine. It is a smaller gun. Okay, not like super tiny, but you know what I mean. Smaller than a standard rifle. Shooting a cartridge that's in between handgun rounds and full power rifle rounds. This happens to be a 223, which is really just a shrunk down high power rifle round. It's not really somewhere in between. The true intermediate cartridges, like 7.62 by 39, 300 blackout, and the 7.62 by 33, I think it was, that the Germans originally made, are a totally different animal than the 223. They're basically shrunk down rifle cartridges. This is, what I mean by shrunk down, I mean like shortened rifle cartridges. This is shrunk in every dimension. It may be, you know, shorter overall, but it has a little tiny diameter bullet too, giving it ballistics similar to a larger caliber round. Basically, it just means it's more accurate, in my opinion, than most of the intermediate cartridges. Philosophy-wise, this is a WRL gun, a fun gun, home defense gun even. I mean, there's lots of roles for this gun. Up to and including hunting. You can get little 5-round clips and maybe put a scope on this and go hunting with it. I personally wouldn't take this barrel length hunting. So another reason I don't like this gun is because the terminal ballistics out of that short barrel are just so bad, it's not even funny. It just doesn't have the hitting power that a full 16-inch barreled gun like this Smith & Wesson has. Other than that, I think it's fine. Track record. DPMS, I would say, is fairly good. And they're kind of middle of the road when it comes to AR-15s. They are an actual factory built gun, so they're a step above the parts builds in my opinion. Although I would definitely put any gun built on a Spike's tactical lower above this gun quality wise. The Spike's tactical lowers Spike's tactical lowers have a better finish on them than this gun. Anyway, but as far as track record goes, DPMS is okay. I haven't ever heard anything bad about them. In certain areas, you hear people who say, I don't like them. Usually never owned one. Okay, yeah. Caliber, we already talked about. It's 223. Magazine, it takes standard AR-15 mags. This happens to be a Magpul P mag. They work really well. Size and weight. It's a standard AR-15 size and weight. Ergonomics. The AR-15 has probably the best ergonomics of any of the readily available tactical carbines, battle rifles, whatever you want to call them. assault rifles even. Although a lot of people get bent out of shape when you say that, on both sides. Whether they're for, banning assault rifles, or they don't like them to be called that, because that way people can ban them. Either way, people don't like it when you call them that. Some of the more modern ones that I don't think are readily available, it's not what I term as readily available, probably have the ergonomics beat on this. But then again, you can get this gun for a third the price of some of those guns, like the FN Scar, or the Bushmaster ACR, or the Robinson Arms XCR. There's several more. I'm not going to go into all of them. Those are probably the big three, though. This gun, however, is readily available. You can find an AR15 in almost any gun shop. You can't say the same thing about those other carbines. And the price point is a lot better than any of those other carbines I just mentioned. Just say that for now. We'll cover price in a little bit. That's pretty much ergonomics. They rock. Materials used. AR-15s are pretty much built out of aluminum, polymer, and a few steel parts where it's critical. Like the trigger and all of the trigger group in there, that's all steel parts for the most part. The front sight, gas block is usually steel. The barrel is steel. I'm pretty sure that the little dust cover there is steel. There's lots of little tiny steel parts on basically aluminum upper and lower receiver assemblies. Pretty much covers materials used. Durability and reliability. When the M16 first came out, it had reliability issues. Those were mainly due to the fact that GIs were told they never had to clean them, and were not issued cleaning kits, and then were issued ammunition using ball powder instead of stick powder. Ball powder burns a lot dirtier. Okay, it's an older form of powder, and the gunk created by that older powder clogged up the gas tubes on the AR-15s, and they didn't want to work anymore because they were never maintained. So all the stuff you hear about, the AR not being reliable, that's left over from the 1960s. We've come a long way since then. I would say the AR-15 is every bit as reliable as an AK-47, except when you're like running underwater in a mud puddle. Then the AK would probably be a better choice. But as long as you're in quasi-normal environments, I mean like just outside, not in like a rice paddy where you're going to be burying your gun for 6 months and come back and digging it up, I would say the AR works just fine. But if you're going to abuse your rifle and never take care of it, go buy an AK. You'll be better off in the long run. Variations. You can get an AR-15 almost any way you want it, from DPMS or anybody else. You can get everything from a 20-inch barrel or longer, in like a sniper variant, to something like this with the short barrel rifle rig going on. We talk about fit and finish, and we're going to use another gun to compare it to. This is a Smith & Wesson M&P 15. This gun costs a couple $100 more than the DPMS. However, the DPMS, the coatings on it just feel like crap. It feels kind of like paint. The coatings on the Smith & Wesson, awesome. It feels like a military issue gun. That's because these are built to mil specs. These are built below mil spec. There are non-mil spec guns that are awesome, but they are made to above mil spec, not below it. DPMS is definitely a below mil spec gun, just as Bushmaster and a few others are. Smith & Wesson, however, is mil spec, and its coatings, fit and finish, and just the overall feel of the gun reflect that. Okay, and for a couple $100, really, you should go get one of these. That's the only difference. Is I'll talk about value here, I guess. This gun goes for about 6 or 7. The Smith & Wesson goes for about 8 or 9. Okay, those are kind of ballpark numbers, but this video is going to be out there for a while and prices change. If it were me, I would definitely get the Smith & Wesson every time. And there's a lot more configurations and stuff you can get too. Accessories, AR15s are like the king of accessories. You can get just about anything you want, as you can tell by the 2 guns I already showed you. The DPMS there and the Smith & Wesson, you can see they're a little different. There's a whole range of stuff you can get. I'm not going to cover that here. You can look up my other videos and other people's other videos on YouTube about AR-15 accessories. Okay. Compatibility with your system. It's a little funny on this one because for me this is my system. Okay, this is what I try to make everything else compatible to. So ammo wise, it's compatible with quite a bit. You can get almost any gun you want in a 5.56 chambering, 223, whatever you want to call it. That's another thing. This is a 223 spec gun. The Smith & Wesson is a 5.56 spec gun. So you can shoot anything you want in the Smith & Wesson. Even though it's highly debatable as to whether or not that makes a difference or not, it's better to play it safe and get the NATO chambered gun like the Smith & Wesson off camera there than to get one like this where you can only shoot 223 according to the manufacturers. Just gonna hit value again. For $600 or $700, this is a very good price on an AR-15. Pretty much any AR-15 actually, but you do lose a little bit when you go to that price point. I would actually say the best competitor for this is the Smith & Wesson M&P Sport. It's about $500 or $600, a little bit less, and you only lose the dust cover and the forward assist. Everything else stays the same. And for me personally, yeah, I'd get rid of them if it saves me that much money. Okay. So all in all, I would suggest you stay away from DPMS unless, you know, there's just something about you that turns you on. Maybe you want those 2 things, or maybe you just find a good deal on one. Okay. I found a pretty good deal on this one. I bought the base gun for $400, which is pretty rockin' actually. For any AR-15, you can get any AR-15 for under $500. Just go buy it. Unless it's like a parts kit gun. Some of those can get under $500 just for the price of the parts that are in them. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and be sure to thumbs up the video.